Win big in 2024 with RotoBaller.com's MLB Premium Pass. It includes our preseason draft kit, 15 exclusive lineup tools, and the Team Sync platform. Get customized rankings for your specific league format. Sync your leagues with Team Sync and use our new live draft assistant. Then get customized advice for your scoring settings. Get a discount for any MLB Premium Pass using my promo code Knuckler. Just visit RotoBaller.com, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. This podcast is also brought to you by Parlay Play Fantasy Sports. Use my referral code RotoBrady. Get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. They got free contests and paid contests coming to a state near you. Check out that platform. They're giving out boosts all the time. Follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady. That's where I make picks for all major combat sports events, MMA regional events, things on UFC Fight Pass. Follow the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another interlude episode of RotoBaller's official MMA podcast, Tap That.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee waits for the calls to stop to this contest. At 2 minutes, 9 seconds of round number 1, declaring the winner of the team, Ryan Jett.
With me today, started off in mixed martial arts back in 2021, made the transition over to bare knuckle boxing. He is going to be fighting Cub Hawkins, who I had on this podcast last week at BYB 25 Brawl on the Bay for the BYB light heavyweight title. Give it up for a guy with a name so cool that he doesn't need a nickname. It's Ryan Jett. What's up, Ryan? How's it going, man?
What's going on with you, man?
So, like, the events of the last couple weeks of me interviewing several BYB title opponents we'll get to in a little bit. But you started off in mixed martial arts. He's fighting out of Charlotte, North Carolina, by the way. Started back in mixed martial arts back in 2013. And your amateur career, you went 5-1. Your only loss was to Jared Gooden, currently of the UFC. How did you get into combat sports in the first place?
Hey, like I always say, man, I ain't choose fighting. Fighting chose me, man. You know, I was a kid. I moved around a lot, and I just fought a lot, you know. And then I learned to love it.
So, like, eventually, like, at what point in your life was it that you decided to start, like, training and then committing to actually, like, fighting organized?
Fighting organized. Well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Goku or Super Saiyan. Not necessarily Goku, but a Super Saiyan. And then I realized that wasn't gonna happen around 9. I was never gonna fly and stuff. So then, it's just pretty mad and angry for a while. But I always wanted to fight, and whenever I turned 19, that's when I just walked into an MMA gym. Was like, yo, let's do it.
And so, like, back in 2013 to 2015, after that first fight against Jared Gooden, by the way, who, you know, you went to the judges' scorecards with, that went the distance. And the next 5 fights were all with Fight Lab. You ended your amateur career as the Fight Lab amateur lightweight champion in a second round knockout victory over Justin Perry. So it progressed over a 2-year, a 2-year span there. What would you say were kind of the hallmarks of you as an MMA fighter, and kind of like, what the growth that you went through in those 2 years fighting amateur MMA?
Well, I was just a striker. You know, I was a striker. Just trying to learn, see whatever I could learn. And then, yeah, man, I was down to fight whoever and take all the fights, take on all comers.
And so then, like, you turned pro in 2016, and it starts really well. You went 3-2. You had a couple fights under the LFA banner. Obviously, that's one of the best regional feeder promotions in the world. And then, like, in December of 2017 is kind of when the MMA losing streak started. And so what was kind of back in that stretch of time that you reflect on, I think was kind of what was going on?
That was crazy. All right, so everything was going good. I had a gym with maybe 3 or 4 coaches at the gym. It had everything in it. It was perfect, man. We had, like, Bellator fighters, a couple UFC guys in there, and then it just shut down, man. Everybody split up. All the coaches was like, if you go train here, if you train with that guy, don't come here and there. and then it was just me and my guy Rodney. We linked up, and it was just us. And then free Rodney, he ended up getting locked up. And then so man, after everything, I kind of really, my heart wasn't in it. Man, I was training, this was punching the bag, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna transition to boxing, because everybody, ain't really too much going on right now with this. So I just started focusing more on boxing. So I was in a boxing gym for my last like 4 MMA fights, just doing it just for money while I was training for boxing, because the small regional scene wasn't really paying like that. So I was just taking MMA fights. They called me last minute, 10 days out, like 2 weeks out. Like, hey, you want to fight this guy? I'm like, shit, why not? Like, whatever. Show up, fight him. And then, I'm a striker. They know, like, he ain't going to wrestle. So they try to hold me down. As you can see, most of the losses were decisions. So these dudes was trying to hold me down, man, and just wrestle. And I was looking to strike, working on my boxing. And I was ready to box. I was like, all right, it's time to start boxing. Then somebody called me like, hey, man, you want to do this bare knuckle? And I'm like, hey, that's a good thing. I might could test out my boxing skills without actually having to hop in the boxing ring yet. Jumped into the bare knuckle, man. And it's like a mix in between the two already. So it's like a better transition. And then I was like, all right, yeah. And now I'm here, just like kicking everybody's ass. And I'm loving this shit right now. I ain't gonna lie. It's pretty exciting to me. And yeah, man, I don't know, man. I might box, man, but man, I'm liking this bare knuckle, man, because it's a different game,
Well, and I'll get to that in a second too, because it's clear that the BYB and the bare knuckle format is like very well suited for your style of fighting. But it's crazy that you're right. Against an 11-7 Micah Terrell in LFA 46,
kicked his ass. Tell him to show that footage. They showed that footage of me fighting Joe Elmore 6 years later, and they got like 500,000 views. But shit, kicked his ass. I fought in front of the troops at Fort Eustis, and I got a standing ovation from all of the troops after the fight. They gave me the they went crazy. Like, man, gave me like, tell them to show that fight since they want to show shit all late.
It's crazy because you're like, a very good example of when a fighter's record does not fully show the circumstance and the potential that they have, because you've gone through all of the stuff that is the worst kind of stuff that fighters on their way up have to go through. The petty gym politics, that is something that really seems to wear people down. And then just dealing with, like, you have to get a fight somewhere, but you have to deal with the unprofessionalism of a lot of these local organizations that really don't know what they're doing and putting events together.
Yeah, man, these dudes, they know I'm a dog, and at the time I ain't really understand the culture of it. I guess I was considered a journeyman at the time. I didn't have a promotion team or whatever, and I'd fight anybody, so they knew I was ready to go. And shit, they would call me like, hey, you want to fight? And I'm like, yeah, like, what you mean? Hell yeah, I'll fight whoever, anybody, wherever. So y'all paying me to do it, like instead of getting in trouble, like, why not? Like, but the politics part, yeah, that's the stuff that kind of start getting in the way. And I just kind of said fuck all of that shit once they start getting a little too focused on like where you train and who you train with. If you train there, then you can't come here. And I just said fuck them all, and then I went independent.
It's crazy that like that exists in a sport of like a bunch of people that are like, consider themselves dogs, consider it to be like, yo, I'm a fighter. This is what I want to do. And they're, grown men and grown women. And yet you still have to deal with that like petty nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is though. At this point now, because I mean, boxing is what I know. So, I really don't need anybody for that. I mean, give me a partner, somebody to hold miss for me, give me a bag, and then I'll show, I can show somebody a couple of things. And then I've been testing out a few coaches here and there, trying to find a right fit still. But I mean, man, I got big plans coming. I'm gonna make a big move soon.
And so, like, at first in BYB back in March of 2022, You lost by unanimous decision to Sam Liera. And then there was that disqualification against Anel Hernandez, like almost a year later, with a win in between against Nathan Mitchell by first round knockout. What were some of the learning curves that you kind of had to deal with in transitioning from the way that you were training to then preparing for bare knuckle bouts with BYB?
Well, I mean, my first fight, I injured my shoulder before it. I was trying to help out a family member, and I ended up getting an injury. And then it didn't seem that bad at first, and then because I took it easy, and then man, locker room, I heard a click, and then after that, man, it came out like maybe 5, 6 times in that fight. In my first fight, my shoulder kept coming out, but I was so good at keeping it under control. People, they didn't even know what was wrong with me. But the one of the owners seen it of the promotion after the fight. He was like, "Your shoulder came out in the first round, didn't it?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I told you." He tapped one of the guys. He was like, "I told you, I told you." And and I was surprised he even could tell because my coaches didn't know. I ain't complain about it or nothing. They fixed me up, got me surgery, paid for my rehab through the whole thing. I got to do I got fixed up. And after that, I came back and you see what's been happening.
So, like,
learning experience though, but to answer that question, the learning experience, it's just the same thing. I haven't really learned anything, but besides that, what to do if I need to fight with one hand or not.
So now you're on a stretch since December of 2022. Now you've won 3 of your last 4. And you're coming off a 2-fight winning streak with that first round knockout that I played that clip from at the beginning against Trevor Ollison. And then you just came off a unanimous decision against Martin Reffel back in June of 2023 at BYB 18. How are you feeling over the course of this winning streak? Because it looked like stylistically, Trevor Ollison messes around a little bit too much against a guy like you, and very clearly, he thought there was going to be a moment where maybe he'd find his range and catch you with something, or he thought that if he just withstood a barrage that his openings would come, but that did not happen. And he was put away very early.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Blackie Chan, man, you gotta love him, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. He's a funny guy. He's definitely a character, man. We actually pretty cool now. But yeah, man, he's just joking around, having fun. We kind of a lot of I have to be more serious when I'm in there. I can't really joke. I wish I could play around like he did, like how he was, man. But at the gym, I'm more like that. But it's a different story when I get out there. I kind of click in.
And it's very clear, and this is what I meant before, that BYB and the Trigon and bare knuckle is a perfect style for you because you're really good at rushing in on people and doing damage. And in traditional boxing, you don't necessarily get those opportunities when you rush in to inflict the kind of damage that you can with bare knuckle. And then the Trigon is designed for you to be able to chase people into each corner consecutively and land your 5 or 6 and then move on to the next corner.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the bare knuckle is because it's man, you ain't going back and forth, all day and then not really doing damage. Your hits, they count. It's more volatile. Yeah, I love it. I ain't gonna lie. It's gonna be hard for me to switch over, to putting gloves on. I mean, if the bag is there, I got kids, so that's I got 2 boys now, so that's the most important thing is the money. When it comes to this, I mean, this is my dream, and it's what I wanted to do since I was a child. But now that I got kids, what love got to do with it?
And I mean, definitely from that perspective, BYB and bare knuckle is probably right now where you're at. You've got actually opportunities to get a bigger payday than you would necessarily if you were going up the traditional routes of boxing and MMA, because bare knuckle, BYB has already got people's attention in a major way. And the nature of bare knuckle in this era, it really opens up the possibility of crossover fights between people in boxing or people in MMA, or just people that are just personalities that people like to pay to watch fight people who actually fight.
Come on, so you saying about the crossover? Say that last part again.
Yeah. Just there's a lot more opportunities, it seems like, in bare knuckle for people who are kind of you were in MMA. There are other people who were in boxing and just kind of it just got stale to them for some reason. And now, through BYB, your name is getting a lot more, attention. with this title fight coming up too, and it seems like it offers a lot more opportunities for crossover fights or bigger fights like that would fetch that payday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see too many boxers coming into it, but I definitely can see, bare knuckle guys going to do some boxing matches or whatever. And yeah, the crossover fights would be cool. I wouldn't mind. I'm always looking at the big names and the top of the list, and I wouldn't mind a Canelo or Bivol fight. So 168. Maybe one of the Charlos or something like that. We'll see. See how it goes. We on the rise right now, bare knuckle. BYB, we on the rise right now. Doing pretty good, and it's growing. We got some big things coming. I can't talk about right now, but definitely, yeah, I can see it happening. I don't see them coming over to the bare knuckle. I don't see boxers coming over to bare knuckle, but maybe MMA fighters, and then bare knuckle guys going to boxing.
Boxers, the guys in traditional boxing have never seemed very keen on actually like going into a different discipline, and then like it's just way too different. Like at least there's overlap between bare knuckle and MMA for sure. There's just like there's less overlap between traditional boxing and other combat sports than there is between any other two.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I mean. Like I said, I've been doing this, man. When I was a kid, I moved 17 times growing up. I never stayed at the same school for a whole year. I was always a guy. You know what I'm saying? So what comes with that, I'm always fighting that man, bare knuckle. It was, and then on top of it, in my household, I had brothers and sisters, but me and my brothers used to get it in, like crazy. So I was used to the bare knuckle, and it had been a minute since I had gotten to a bare knuckle fight until when I came back in, because I had been so disciplined and controlled or whatever, and I hadn't gotten into a street fight or had to, and people don't street fight where I come from anyway anymore. So the bare knuckle is real easy for me to jump into, but a lot of people's like, I can't believe you doing that, man. A lot of boxers and even some MMA guys. Wyman trains at one of the gyms that I go to, and he was just like, man, that's a different league. You guys, everybody's not built for that. You seen Luke Rockhold get his lips split and start acting like a hoe. And he been doing that in bare knuckle for getting kicked elbows out, but just straight punches and knuckles to the face. You gotta be ready for that, man.
And so now on April 4th, you got coming up the light heavyweight BYB title fight against Cub Hawkins. I had Cub on the show last week, and I know this has been, and I don't know if I was just unclear about it because Tapology still said, and like the first time I had interacted with BYB, it was still Chad Kelly that was slotted in. And so it's been like somewhat of a recent development, apparently, that, now it's you versus Cub Hawkins for the light heavyweight title. So how did this fight come to be?
Well, I mean, I was out on the injury for a little bit, and when I was ready in around like January, February, I hit the matchmaker up like, yeah, I'm back, I'm ready. And then he was like, all right, we'll see, we can get you in. If not this card, the next one, something like that. I started training for it. They gave me a few names, and I'm used to the names changing up all the time, so never really focused on it or cared about it. But I had a date, and then I'm training, getting ready, and they was like, this Hawkins guy been talking shit about me for like 2 years, like just talking shit, like not wanting to fight me though. I hit the matchmaker ASAP. Someone's like, I don't argue on the internet, I do none of that. So as soon as I see you, I'm, hey, matchmaker, yo, give me this guy, give me that guy, this guy. They talking shit, like of course I easily fight anybody in the game, but like if you running your mouth, I mean, why not fight? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I hit the matchmaker like, and he been ducking me. You know what I'm saying? I'm this weight, I'm that weight, yada yada, whatever. They give me a different name, I take the fight. So he basically got screwed into having to fight me. You know what I'm saying? Because he was already fighting for a belt, and somebody backed out, and then they threw my name in there, and then he's just like, yeah, he kind of had to fight me now. And now, I'm knocking everybody out. Fight of the night or knockout is all I produce. That's all my fights, except for the one I got DQ'd. But I mean, that was still fight of the night. We got like 1.5 million. Yes, son. I can't do that right now. I'm doing something right now. Go give it to mama. Okay. So yeah, fight of the night. Or knockout of that. Please, son, go over there. Go over there. Take it to mama. She'll do it for you. boy want me to turn his transformer toy into turn Bumblebee into a car. All right, I got distracted. What was I saying, man?
But like that was how the fight came to be, and now
yeah, the fight came to be, and then now so now it's great. Now it's about to happen, and we're gonna see, what all that stuff you were saying. Hate my gut so much, you got so much to say. Let's see what happens.
And so, like, I have a feeling where it might go, but like, what are your thoughts about the upcoming matchup against Cub? Because here's the thing: if I'm gonna, because I talked to Cub, a week ago, and an observation of his most recent fights, he had to fight like a European giant, like a dude that was like, in my memory, the dude was like 6'3", like for the weight class, and Cub did a really good job, I thought, of being able to close range and get the guy into his clinch and initiate his dirty boxing. So, what do you think about the upcoming matchup against Cub?
I think it's gonna be a great fight until he loses.
Damn, that's cold.
Yeah, man. I mean, that dude, without trying to reveal too much, I see what he's been doing, what he's been trying to do, man, and man, that shit ain't gonna work. He try to take easy fights, and he try to pick his fights, and I don't pick and choose. I'll take all comers, anybody, big or small, it's whatever. It don't matter to me.
Folks, he's fighting for the BYB light heavyweight title at BYB 25 Brawl on the Bay against Cub Hawkins. It sounds like it's going to be an awesome fight. Sounds like there's going to be heat in the Trigon on April 4th. Ryan, thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me. Best of luck and health to you leading up to April 4th. And if there's anything else that you want to say or anybody you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Shout out to BYB, everybody, for rocking with me, and all my fans, friends, supporters, haters, and my sponsor Parker and Sean's Auto Express.
Folks, thanks for listening to another in this awesome BYB series I've gotten to do over the last week. Another episode of RotoBallers official MMA podcast. Tap that. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady. That's where I make picks for all major MMA and boxing events. Follow the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. We've got another UFC Fight Night coming up this Saturday before UFC 300. Enjoy the week. Take in some great combat sports. Thanks for listening, folks. Peace.